Hello and welcome to Envision. I'm Deanne Conrad here with Dr. Brian Maher, our superintendent, and we are talking this time about some big news in the district in terms of where our next high school will be located. And that's really been a process to discover and choose that land. Tell us about how that all came to be.
Well, first of all, welcome back.
Well,
it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It's gone for a little bit.
First of all, on the land, you know, that has been really a part of the conversation that paralleled the whole bond election process. Is if you build a new high school, where will it be? And that was from the task force, the charge that was put in front of the school board was build this in the northwest quadrant of the community. So our focus really was in that piece of the community to try to figure out where does it make sense to build a high school. Fortunately, there were more landowners that came forward than we had ever anticipated when we started that process. And then we put a group together to vet the different options that we had there, and ultimately came up with the land that we picked, which is very near CTE and STI in the northwest quadrant of our community.
What did that land have that made it appealing and made it the right spot for our next high school?
It's a really good question. There were several things. Number one, the land itself had great synergy with other educational neighbors. Career and Technical Education Academy is right, it's walking distance, even though we'll probably never have a student walk it. It's very close in proximity to where the new high school will be. Southeast Tech, walking distance, although we'll probably never have anybody walk it. Very much from a proximity standpoint, an ease of transition standpoint, both of those facilities are right there next to the new high school. And also as part of that is New Technology High School, which is right there, very close, and we're wondering what sort of synergies we can get between those two buildings as well. So those three educational entities right in very close proximity to the new high school will be something that really separated that land from all other pieces of land. Then you throw in access. What do the roads look like to the facility, from the facility? What does the city say about roads in the future, and how will we be able to get around that particular site? Also, city transportation, bus service lines, those sorts of things, all really played into that piece. And then the final thing that was really a crucial piece too was what's the total cost of development? So that includes the cost of the land, that includes the cost of preparing the land for construction, and then the construction itself. And believe it or not, the piece of land helps dictate those construction costs as well. So in the end, there was a cost of the land to go along with the location and the synergies with the neighborhood.
Yeah, topography and just how much you're going to have to do with grading and all of that technical terms. All of those technical terms. Well, that has to be a good, feel like a good piece of progress. We continue to make progress. Speak to the middle school. What's going on with the new middle school? Well,
great question. You know, I mentioned earlier that at the high school, the task force said build that in the northwest quadrant of the community. And we were fortunate because we had so many options really in that northwest quadrant. Well, the task force also said build the middle school in the southeast quadrant of our community. And if you'll drive around the northwest quadrant of the community and the southeast quadrant of the community, it appears as though the land availability is about the same. But not so. You have to find folks. You have to find folks who are willing to part with that land, and that was a much more difficult process in the southeast quadrant of the community. And while I'm not ready to say today where that site is going to be, I think we've zeroed in on a site that will probably be the site. I'll know more shortly.
And again, taking all of those things into consideration, you know, the access, the bus capabilities, although a middle school we don't have, we typically, you know, for busing kids, that'll be part of the school bus Inc.
Yeah.
Group and development, but still.
All of the same issues pertain in the southeast quadrant of the community as those that I described in the northwest quadrant of the community. One big difference is we're not going to have those neighbors from a synergistic
Education.
standpoint
Yeah.
that we have in the northwest,
Sure.
down in the southeast.
And that's one of the reasons why they said build in the southeast. We don't currently have a middle school if you
Right.
divide the city into thirds.
Right. The other thing that the city planners helped us with through that process was that area is going to develop. There's going to be a lot of residential development down there. And so we really think that once we build the middle school, we're building it hopefully with the sense of prophecy of where that development is going to be. And so we'll have a good neighborhood to really have that middle school be an anchor for the folks in the neighborhood.
Good, very good. Well, lots of exciting developments, but yet much to do in terms of carrying out our plan.
Much to do.
Yeah, much to do, for sure. So thank you for joining us today for this update, and we hope you'll tune in again to Envision to find out more about what's happening in your Sioux Falls Public Schools.